What's up, Fig fam? Welcome back to the Fig Heel YouTube channel. Now, 2020 has been an unprecedented year for a lot of reasons. Many ways, shapes, and forms has it been. And we're not going to get into all that. However, I will say, as far as wrestling figures, I think 2020 has been a stellar year. So today, I'm going to be going over my top 10 picks of the best wrestling figures of 2020. Let's get right into it. All right, so I have picked out my top 10 favorite figures of this year, and a lot of them are mint on card because a lot of stuff I let them suffocate. Some I open, but a lot I let suffocate. So if you're a mint on card collector, I suggest you get over to prowrestlingtees.com/fightheel and pick up our new hot seller, the Let 'Em Suffocate t-shirt. It is in the form of the new, 2020, I should say, Elite packaging. 2021's a little bit different. Maybe we'll update it, maybe we won't. Pick them up, though. So, I've picked out my top 10 favorite figures from this year. These are my favorite. These are what I think are the best. You do not have to agree, and on some of them, I'm pretty confident you're not going to agree. But, without further ado, let's get right into it. Comment below your top 10 list, and we'll compare notes. But here's mine. So first up, I know this one's going to get a lot of hate, but I love this figure. Not a fan of the Superstar. But I think Mattel did a great job on this figure. And to top it off, it is not an Elite. It is Basic Series 105, first time in the line, LARS Sullivan. This is one of those figures, okay? I compare this to a Great Khali. I don't think that he needs an Elite. There's really no accessories that he could possibly come with. He doesn't really have much range of motion as a wrestler to begin with. That I think that a basic is all he really needs, and we'd be well off. This is one of, if not the best basic, in my opinion, of 2020. And it's number 10 on my list. It's LARS Sullivan from Basic Series 105. Now, I think that the likeness on it is great. I think the body type they used is great. His tattoos are all there. He has very simple gear. They even included his red line socks. Great figure. I'm almost positive that this is going to be on nobody's top 10 list. Solely because a lot of people don't like LARS Sullivan. But I don't let how I feel about a person control how I feel about their action figures. The fact of the matter is action figures are made to look like a certain person and to embody them. And this figure completely embodies LARS and looks just like him, and Mattel knocked it out of the park. I just don't think it gets a lot of love. So here we have Basic Series 105 from the very beginning of the year, LARS Sullivan, number 10. What we got here? Number 9. Now this one on here, I will admit, this is probably me being a little biased. This is somebody that when I was in college, I actually worked with. We weren't necessarily friends. We didn't really talk, but we worked at the same place. He was a lifeguard, and I just worked the front desk of a gym. And that is LINCE DORADO. So I knew he was a wrestler, and at the time, I wasn't a huge wrestling fan anymore. I kind of got out of it, got more into music. And I knew he was a wrestler. I respected it because I've always respected any wrestler because I know it takes a toll on the body. But when I found he was getting a figure, I was like, that's pretty damn cool. I got to pick that up. I really wanted to get the Chase, but I never found it. And it wasn't something I was going to pay eBay prices for. But it's Elite Series 74, LINCE DORADO. So he's a local guy, and I thought they did an excellent job on his likeness in the mask. The colors are incredible. The black, the light blue, the pink. He's got the Lucha House Party, which is based off of the In Your House logo. He's got the piñata. He's got interchangeable hands. He's got all of his tattoos. I thought that this was an excellent representation of LINCE. However, I am wholeheartedly admitting that this is probably very biased on my part to name this as one of my top 10 figures of the year. though I do think it is a great figure. The look on his face, the mask, I thought that they killed it. Great job, Mattel. I love this figure. And now that I'm looking at it again, I'm very tempted to buy that chase. Very tempted to buy that chase. But number 9, we have LINCE DORADO from Series 74. And number 8 on the list, this is a figure, this is me being completely honest. Again, not somebody I'm a huge fan of. Not crazy about this person. I don't dislike them. It's just not somebody that I necessarily follow or root for. And that is SHIRAI. I know she's very popular with the wrestling community, just not my cup of tea, I guess. But Series 79, Elite SHIRAI. And I think that this figure is absolutely beautiful. This is a work of art. The reason she's number 8 is solely because I said I don't know much about her. I don't really follow her career. So for me to put it at number 1 was difficult. However, I do think this is probably a contender for a lot of people's number 1 figure of the year because of the cloth goods jacket itself. It's got the fur on top. It's got the Japanese letters on the side, the neon green and the black. A lot of tooling, new tooling went into this figure, and it looks phenomenal. I thought her attire was great. The likeness on the face is perfect. It's almost identical to her. I just think they did a killer job on this figure, and I think it's well deserving to be on the list of top 10. It's number 8 for me, but I'm sure it's higher on a lot of people's lists. So we have Elite Series 79 SHIRAI. Next up is a figure from a new line. I'm sure that gives you an idea of what it is. AEW, All Elite Wrestling, Unrivaled Series 1. Now, this figure is on my list. It is Unrivaled Series 1, Chris Jericho. Now, a lot of people prefer the little bit of the bubbly. That's fine. A lot of people like Series 2 better because of the skin tone. Yes, the skin tone is way too pale in this figure. But what I need to address is the fact that I think that this figure, skin tone aside, is not one of, but the best Chris Jericho action figure ever made. Now, that is saying a lot because he's somebody who has so many figures. But no figure, besides a little bit of the bubbly, I should say, has all of his tattoos. How incredible is that? And they're so detailed and beautiful, and they just shine on both arms. He's got both arms, all of his tattoos. He's got the removable entrance gear, which I actually like to display him without the entrance gear. So I don't display him with the entrance jacket. However, I do think it's awesome. I just don't like, for loose figures, how the arms just go out to the side like that and you can't really pose them. So I put this in a little baggie and I don't display him with it. However, I think the detail on this jacket is incredible. And he comes with gloved hands, interchangeable. That is a perfect use for interchangeable hands. They gave us gloved and ungloved hands. So you can display him in entrance gear or without. Now, I do display him with the scarf and the entrance hat. I just think it looks great. The detail on the pants is incredible. His boots, that was my favorite thing. When they first showed these figures off, I was like, man, the boots are perfect. It looks incredible. Now, I understand that the skin tone is not perfect. And in due time, we will get corrected skin tone. And I'm sure plenty more Chris Jericho figures. However, I do believe this is the best Chris Jericho figure to date. That's my opinion. And that's why this AEW Unrivaled Series 1 Chris Jericho Le Champion is number 7 on my list for the best figures of 2020. Now, next up is a figure from a line that not everybody collects in the wrestling figure community, and that is the WWE Masters of the Universe collection, exclusive to Walmart. Now, these figures, they are what they are. If you're a fan of He-Man or you grew up on He-Man, they're very, very cool. However, there's one figure in particular that really just, every time I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's got to be the best figure in the line, which is why I added it to the list, and it's coming in at number 6 on the list, and that is Undertaker. Now, this is based off of Scareglow from He-Man, and I just think that the detail on this. Now, this is not meant to look like be authentic to the Undertaker. It's supposed to be a He-Man character based around the Undertaker, and if you don't think that this is incredible for him, it is. So he comes with like a staff and a few other accessories and the booklet. But what I'm looking at is he's got the Ministry of Darkness goatee, the long hair, and not only that, but he looks like a skeleton almost, and he glows in the dark. Okay, and it's so fitting because he is the dead man, and as the front says, dead man walking. So when you shine light on this and you turn out the lights, this shines. And I'm not even kidding, in my collection, if I'm in there for 5 to 10 minutes, lights hitting this thing, I turn out the lights to close the door, this thing is glowing. I do love this figure. It's probably my favorite figure ever made by Masters of the Universe, but for the Masters of the Universe line, which is why he's coming in at number 6. This is the Undertaker Scareglow. Very, very cool figure. Next up is a figure of my modern day favorite superstar on the WWE roster. This was a hard choice because this person had a stellar year action figure wise, a lot of releases, so it was hard to pick. All right, but what I went with is the WWE Basic Series 111 Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt. Now, I'll explain to you why I went with this figure. I have all of his figures. I have every figure made for Bray Wyatt. There's a few reasons why I went with this figure. Now, is the Elite Fiend a great figure? It absolutely is. It's a wonderful figure. It comes with the lantern. It's a great likeness. Perfect. I love it. I love the figure. There's one reason I left him off the list. Okay? The Elite Fiend Bray Wyatt, the true effects, because there's so much detail and there's so much detail to the head sculpt and so much detail to the print for the true effects, it's almost impossible for them to line up. I'm sure Mattel will perfect it, but I have seen that figure so many times, and I've owned it so many times and had to return it until I find a better one. I get a better one. It's still not perfect, so I have to return that one when I find a better one. The true effects just does not line up great on the Fiend because there's so many detail and so many what I like to call peaks and valleys in the face of the mask that it just doesn't line up well. The nose is either off-centered or stretched out. The eyes. It's very, very difficult to find a perfect Fiend, and I've yet to find one where there's not a part of the face that is stretched out or moved in the wrong direction from the true effects. So that's what kept it off the list for me, although I do think it would be a great figure if I could find one. That was perfect. The Firefly Funhouse ringside exclusive, great figure. I just don't think I don't like the body mold. I think that they should have done what they did for this figure and made a sweatshirt mold. And this figure, as you can see, he's got the sweatshirt mold, he's got the khaki pants, his boots, and he's got the lapel of his undershirt sticking out with a great likeness for Bray Wyatt, which is why this is number 5 on my list of the best figures of 2020. Huge Bray Wyatt fan. I was looking forward to a Firefly Funhouse action figure of him for a long time. When I saw the ringside exclusive, I was very excited. Immediately I pre-ordered it, and then shortly after they showed this figure, and I was like, oh, this one's so much better. So I got both. So number 5, Series 111, Bray Wyatt. Next up is a figure that I didn't think we were going to get. And for a long time, it was said that we would not get it due to certain discrepancies in the company. But next up is the WWE Mattel Elite 2-pack, China. Now, this spot goes solely to China. The Triple H is not bad. It's not top 10 worthy. But this China is incredible. Now, she comes with both titles like she would hold for Shawn Michaels and Triple H, the European and the WWF Championship. It's a great likeness of her early years before she got certain surgeries and such done. She's got the very broad jaw. It's got the cuts in her tights. Her arms are almost like perfect size for China. The strength you can see in her biceps, triceps, and in her forearms. It's got the dog collar on her. It's just a figure that I don't think I really expected to see. And it brought me back to my BCA days because it's very reminiscent of the Jakks BCA Too Tough China that was released also in the DTA line. I'm sorry, in the live wire line. So, yeah. Number 4 on the list, we have China Elite 2-pack. Next up, barely made it onto the list because I was going mostly by figures that were released in retail in 2020. All right, I like to do that. I think that's more fair because it's very hazy with ringside and such like that. They get early figures. So I try to stick with retail. However, this figure was so good that I made an exception. It's not technically at retail yet, but I just think it's perfect. So while Jazzwares made the best Chris Jericho figure, I also think that they made the best Dean Ambrose / Jon Moxley figure to date. There was always something off about Mattel's Dean Ambrose figures. This Jon Moxley is perfect. I think the head sculpt on him, he's even got his scar from that night over his eye. The body type that they used, the size of his arms, he's got his forearm tattoo, his pants are perfect, the way that they're molded, and the way that they have all the zippers and stuff decoed on. His entrance jacket is almost identical to what he wears. He comes with the beautiful AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Just a great figure overall. I thought the way they did his hair was perfect. It's almost identical to how it lies on his actual head, which I think is one of the hardest things for Mattel. I think that's one of the things that Mattel just had a struggle capturing on the Dean Ambrose figures was his hair. And I just think that Jazzwares did an incredible job on this figure, which is why this has made it onto my list of best figures of 2020. AEW Jazzwares Unrivaled Collection Series 2, Jon Moxley. And next up, this is a figure, when they first showed this at a trade show, I knew I had to have it even though I wasn't necessarily a huge fan. I think that Mattel killed this figure in a good way and absolutely made it look almost like a statue as opposed to an action figure. And that is the Elite Series 73 KAIRI SANE. I was never huge on KAIRI. I thought that her gimmick was cool, the whole pirate thing. I just thought, like, it was just, I don't know. I just didn't think it fit in the current product. I thought she was a great wrestler. But how beautiful is this figure? First of all, the likeness is incredible. But the jacket is posed to the point where you can move the arm if you want to, but you can also have her grab the hat. She's got the pirate hat. She's got her little elbow pad here if you take off the jacket. She's got interchangeable hands behind the first time in the line tag. She's got the, what do they call that? Monocle. And she's got the, I don't even know what you call that. The ship steer, whatever you want to call that. But yeah, the jacket detail is incredible. Just there's really not much to say. And there's a picture on the side of her in that attire, and it's almost uncanny how great it is. I'm not usually, I know that a lot of loose collectors are not usually fans of the rubber goods jackets, entrance gear, because the way that they, as I said with the Chris Jericho, makes her arms go out to the side. However, this has got to be a exception because the pose on it is incredible. I know they were planning this for Sasha Banks for a ringside exclusive where she was doing the legit boss stance, and maybe that's still coming. We're not sure. But this was a great execution of that, and I think this was their first way of testing it in the major market, and I think it was a hit. So that's why this is number 2 on the list for the best figures of 2020. And last but not least, there's 2 figures that tied for number 1, believe it or not. And I think this is going to be at the top part of everybody's best figures of 2020. And for me, it is Elite 80, ERIK and IVAR, the Viking Raiders. Okay. Now, I can't say that I'm exactly happy with the direction of their characters in the last couple months. However, these figures, the detail on them is phenomenal. From their beard coloring to their entrance gear, and ERIK's tattoos are unreal. Initially, I was going to give number 1 spot to ERIK and put IVAR somewhere on the list, but I didn't think that was fair. I figure these 2 figures go together. So I had to put them as 1, and I think it's deserved. So even the chest hair on IVAR, it just looking at these figures and the detail that goes into them explains why it took so long for them to get figures, because they're so deserving of them and they're so toyetic. But after you hold them in your hands, they're excellent. The only discrepancy I have is IVAR's beard is like completely black and very, very dark. But other than that, these are works of art. And I think ERIK, with the hair on his entrance helmet, is just so cool. And they're doing the war symbol. You can see the tattoos on his hands. Just everything about these figures I love, so that's why they're number 1 on the list of the top 10 figures of 2020. So the Viking Raiders are number 10. Number 9, we're giving to KAIRI SANE. Number 8, John Moxley. Number 7, China. Number 6, Bray Wyatt. I'm sorry, I'm messing up. So number 1 is the Viking Raiders. Number 2 is KAIRI SANE. 3 is John Moxley. 4 is China. 5 is Bray Wyatt. 6 is the Undertaker. 7 we gave to Chris Jericho. Getting ahead of myself there, guys. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's number 7. So we have SHIRAI. That's 8. We have, let's say DORADO was number 9. And LARS SULLIVAN was number 10. So, yeah. So here's some of my picks for the top 10 figures of 2020. It was very hard to figure out this list. It took me hours to actually narrow it down to my favorites, but this is them. So hope you guys liked this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at FakeHeel and at Unreleased Wrestling Figs. Check out the Unreleased Wrestling Figure Coloring Books, volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4, as well as Color Mania, which features the first 3 volumes for a discounted price. And go to ProWrestlingTees.com/FakeHeel for all your merchandise needs, like this Let 'Em Suffocate shirt. Have a good one, guys. Take it easy. Peace. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at FakeHeel and at Unreleased Wrestling Figs. And you can visit the merch store at Pro Wrestling Tees and check out the Unreleased Wrestling Figure Coloring Books available now on Amazon.com, including Prime shipping.